In a novel, the unfortunate girl, Juvelian, who had just been abandoned by the man she loved most, Mikhail, met with a disaster that led to her death that very day. It was at a royal banquet, and for some reason, the drink Juvelian offered to the princess was poisoned. As a result, after drinking it, the princess trembled violently and then fainted. All suspicion and scrutinizing eyes fell upon a small, fragile girl like her. Even though she desperately tried to explain, no one believed her. "No, I didn't do it. Please believe me, Mikhail." The princess kept saying she was thirsty, so Mikhail didn't believe a word she said. He simply picked up the princess, stood up, and said, "Is this because I abandoned you and chose to love the princess?" Everyone at the banquet looked at Juvelian with hatred and began whispering amongst themselves. "Oh my, just as I thought. Is the lady's character so awful because of jealousy? She refused to break up with Marquis Han's son and harassed every girl who approached him. Therefore, she even targeted the princess." At that moment, Juvelian was shaking and thought, "I do hate the princess for taking Mikhail, but I swear I never intended to kill her." Juvelian looked at her father, but all she received was his cold indifference. From above, the emperor roared, "What are you all doing? Immediately arrest that wicked little girl and lock her in the dungeon below." At this, Juvelian turned and grabbed her father's hand. "Father, you believe me, don't you?" But he pulled his hand back without a moment's hesitation. "Your Majesty, I will escort her." Juvelian was terrified and collapsed to the ground. The emperor slammed his hand on his seat. "How can I trust you now? Lock her away. Who knows what tricks she'll pull? We can only trust that she'll be safe if she's locked in the dark room." The dark room, a place even darkness and magic cannot enter. There is only an entrance, no exit. Therefore, only those who commit heinous crimes are locked in here. Being locked in the dark room means I've been abandoned. Then, her own father, her only relative, personally dragged her toward the dungeon. On the way, she desperately tried to tell him that she didn't do it, but there wasn't a flicker of concern from him. Her father's attitude toward her was terrifyingly cold and heartless. Thinking back, he had never shown the slightest interest in her, his own child, since she was little. Every time she found an excuse to approach her father, she was met with his hateful gaze. Even if she said she came because she missed her father, he would coldly reply, "Don't come looking for me with such a ridiculous excuse," and then he would ignore her, no matter how hard she cried or sobbed. Later, every time she asked a servant about her father, she was met with a head shake from them. "Where's my father? He really didn't come to my coming-of-age ceremony." Thinking of those things, standing before the dungeon, Juvelian could only offer a bitter laugh. Just then, in front of the cell, her father handed her a sword and said, "Take this." After saying that, he coldly walked away. Looking at the sword, Juvelian thought, "What am I supposed to do with this? Is father telling me to kill myself?" Watching him leave, she cried out, "Father, I beg you. Father, please don't abandon me like this." But no matter how hard she cried, nothing changed. Inside the dungeon, Juvelian sat huddled up, terrified. Just then, she heard footsteps and a commotion from outside. "Your Highness, no." Juvelian shivered, thinking, the Crown Prince? Only the royal family can freely move around in this dark room. Outside, the Crown Prince was arguing with the guards. "Get out of the way. I'm here to interrogate the one who murdered my sister." Without His Majesty's permission. "Are you looking for a fight?" From outside, the Crown Prince said, indeed, she must suffer until death to reveal the truth. Hearing this, Juvelian was terrified and reached for the sword. The Crown Prince, with bloodshot eyes, looked at her and said, "It was you, wasn't it? Don't worry, I won't kill you." Seeing the Crown Prince, Juvelian was distraught. She thought he had come to torture her, so without a moment's hesitation, she raised the sword and thrust it. She decided to end her own life rather than endure torture. The Crown Prince rushed forward to stop her, but it was too late. Before she died, she still didn't understand. All she ever wanted was love, yet why was she always met with hatred and alienation from everyone? The novel ended just like that. Meanwhile, there was an ordinary girl looking for a job and reading the novel mentioned above. But on her way to work, she was hit by a car and died. It must be fate that she was resurrected as Juvelian. All the memories I recalled from my previous life were that Juvelian had dated Mikhail for 2 years, and during those 2 years, whenever a girl approached him, Juvelian would harass her. For Juvelian in the original story, who was unloved by her father and lived a lonely life, Mikhail was the only person who reached out to help. Juvelian cherished even his smallest act of care, so Juvelian became increasingly obsessed with him. He filled Juvelian's emotional void, but Juvelian's death also stemmed from that. Now, after being resurrected as Juvelian, to avoid my death, I must protect myself. I must stay away from the man named Mikhail. Today, I arranged to meet that man. Why did you call me here 3 hours later than the scheduled time? Did you call me here just to scold me? Juvelian put down her teacup and said, "I'll be direct. I want to break up with you. I'm serious. I want to set you free now." Nonsense. You think I'll believe that? The man I once loved is the male lead of this novel, Mion Bihan, the Marquis's son. If you don't want to, don't believe me. I've clearly proposed a breakup. Fine. I guess I have to believe you at least once. Mikhail slammed his hand on the table, but added, but don't ever appear in front of me again. Juvelian smiled, thinking, success. I've escaped death. She looked brightly at Mikhail and said, I'm sorry for everything. Please be happy. With that, Juvelian stood up, grabbed her umbrella, and left. Mikhail watched her go, thinking, I don't even have to look to know she's putting on an act to get my attention. But why do I feel so terrible? Back at the mansion, she was happy, as if a great burden had been lifted. Time to go upstairs and rest. Just then, her father came down the stairs and stood in front of her, making her jump. Her father is Duke Regius Eloy Floyen, the Empire's sole duke and her only relative. Juvelian looked at him, secretly admiring him. He truly is handsome. Years have passed, but he hasn't aged. And he's also the man who harbors no love for his daughter. Since I knew what her father was like in the original story, this time, instead of longing for his affection, I'll focus on enjoying his wealth to the fullest. Juvelian cheerfully greeted him. You're back. Since you're undertaking the training role now, you must be very tired. Seeing the cold expression of Duke Regius Eloy Floyen, Juvelian secretly laughed. Haha, that was awkward. She then bowed and said, Please go upstairs and rest, father. I'll take my leave. Juvelian quickly ran upstairs, but after only a few steps, the Duke spoke. I didn't train today. Juvelian stopped short and glanced back, wondering, I didn't mishear that, did I? Then he continued, You came home early today. Juvelian was a little stunned, but she recalled that the original Juvelian was usually too busy chasing Mikhail to even come home. Juvelian covered her mouth and chuckled. I broke up with him. He frowned and approached her. Why? Seeing his reaction, she thought, right, father doesn't trust this man, Mikhail. Juvelian lowered her face and said, Because Mikhail doesn't love me. I don't want to spend my whole life with someone I only love unilaterally. The Duke's face darkened. She wondered, did father plan to have him marry in? Since father only has me as a child, he must be troubled by the issue of a successor. But Juvelian lifted her chin and said, Father, I want to marry the person I love because I want to be happy. The Duke said nothing, just frowned and silently walked away. Watching him leave, she thought, he won't even say a word to the daughter he dislikes. He doesn't trust his daughter and harbors no affection for her. Father, I'll live well so that I don't bother you anymore. Therefore, please ignore me as you always have, for the sake of my peaceful and long life. Just then, a maid was trembling, taking heavy steps towards her room, muttering, The lady's favorite whip is missing. Juvelian, in their eyes, was a beautiful but ill-tempered young lady who smashed everything in front of her. She just broke up with Sir Mikhail today, so there won't be anything left intact. Please, let there be no trouble. Miss, your bath is ready. But as the maid entered, she was stunned to see Juvelian sitting silently, sobbing and weeping pitifully. Seeing this, the maid cried out in alarm, Miss. Juvelian wondered, what? What's going on? Did she see me? Are you all right? Juvelian turned away, wiping her tears, and thought, I should have covered my mouth when I yawned. Marilyn, I'm just so tired. I'll take a bath tomorrow. Seeing the maid's serious face, Juvelian chuckled, I'm just very tired. The maid, Marilyn, lowered her face. No, Mississippi. Please go rest. Thank you, Marilyn. I just yawned and my eyes watered, that's all. The maid, Marilyn, misinterpreted her and with teary eyes, she bowed and ran out. Left alone, Juvelian smiled smugly. Next time, I shouldn't tease the maid. Outside, Marilyn said sympathetically, no matter what, she must be heartbroken from the breakup, so much that she's crying. The poor lady. The Duke heard this and asked, that child, cried? Tell me everything you saw in detail. The next morning. It looks like a beautiful day today. Good morning, Mississippi. The Duke invites you to have breakfast together. Very quickly, Juvelian went down to eat breakfast, feeling unable to swallow. She thought, father doesn't usually eat breakfast with me. Throughout the meal, Duke Floyen stared intently at her. After a while, Juvelian felt full and was about to stand up, but Duke Floyen filled her plate again and said, eat more. Juvelian wondered, Father, why are you treating me like this? Watching Juvelian ravenously eat the food he gave her, the Duke recalled, the lady who was heartbroken because of Marquis Hass's son has become the villainess. He sighed. The Duke's sigh made her jump. Juvelian glanced at the Duke, thinking, I'm so pathetic. But I guess I deserve it. The noble position of the Duke is the leader of the Central Army's Knight Order and the royal family's most meritorious hero in achieving the great victory of the Empire 20 years ago. Compared to him, I'm a stain on his reputation among the upper class, a non-entity in society, with no true friends. I can't compare to him. Looking at him with a dejected expression, he asked, Juvelian, what is your ideal type? Juvelian was startled and dropped the knife she was holding. Why are you suddenly asking that? I'm curious. A barrage of questions appeared in her head. Curious? You haven't cared about me all this time. Why? Does father plan to marry me off to another man? Is father planning to raise an heir by recruiting a different son-in-law to replace Mikhail? No way. Haha, ideal type? A man who is even stronger than father. She secretly rejoiced. Where could he find someone like that? I refuse this marriage. With a cold expression, he asked, are you serious? Did he figure out my intention? It's good, but there's no such person in this world, right? Father, you're the strongest in this empire. Father, money, fame, family background, appearance, ability. I will only marry a man who satisfies all these conditions. Then she chuckled. The Duke remained silent, deep in thought. Then he said, Juvelian. Juvelian tensed up when he called her name. Go out with me today. Juvelian jumped up and asked, why? The Duke didn't say much, just swirled the wine in his glass and said, just do it. For 18 years, I've never gone out with father. Father, why are you treating me like this? A moment later, on A Street, the father and daughter were walking out together. Father and daughter? They look more like siblings. They entered a store. This and that. I'll take everything. Add the L too. Juvelian looked confused. What is father doing? Juvelian casually picked up a rabbit sparkling with gemstones and thought, it's so expensive. No one would buy it even if they were given money. Then the Duke pointed and said, take that one too, startling her. No. Why is father buying everything I look at? After following her father around for a while, Juvelian started to feel tired and wanted to go home and rest. Just then, someone walking past caught her attention. Oh, a woman, but carrying a sword. The Duke turned to her and said, wait a moment. Stay here for a bit, and then he went to speak to that person. She wondered, is that father's acquaintance? Juvelian thought, after the captain of the Empress Juria's guard vanished without a trace, the inspection of female bodyguards was suspended. People on the street started whispering. The person just now was Duke Floyen, right? Then, is that notorious lady his daughter, next to him? With too much attention on her, Juvelian decided to find a quieter place. So, she quietly walked into a shop. As she opened the door, the person inside said, welcome. What wind brought an angel to my shop? She jumped and said, I think I have the wrong place. The other people laughed at her confusion. The seller said cheerfully, what would you like to buy, miss? I respect your interests. She thought, these are not my interests. I don't want to buy anything. While she was feeling awkward, someone walked in and stood right behind her. He said, payment. Curious, she looked up and saw the person had red eyes. That person also looked down at her. Juvelian was startled and was about to apologize for staring so obviously when the person snapped, what are you looking at? Get lost. She thought, fine. I admit that straight nose and strong eyes. He's handsome enough that I can't look away. Why is he looking at me like that? Is he telling me to get lost? Juvelian said with a tone of dislike, oh fine. I want to buy the exact same things as this man. Miss, are you sure you want to buy this? Yes, I'm very sure. You want this armor polish? Juvelian was startled, but quickly regained her composure. The furniture in my mansion is all tarnished. It would be a waste to leave it like that. Internally, she was screaming, oh my god, how embarrassing. The seller said, I see. In that case, one box won't be enough for all the furniture in the mansion, Mississippi. Please wait a moment. I'll go to the warehouse and get it right away. Wait. Oh my. I didn't mean for this to happen. The man took his item and left a gold coin, then quickly turned to leave. Juvelian saw this and called out, excuse me. Your change. Please wait a moment. You paid with 1 gold coin. Didn't you hear me, sir? You paid 1 gold coin. She was running after him when he stopped, causing her to crash into him. Bam. I just wanted to tell you that you paid the wrong amount. Asterisk, the impact made her nose feel like it was broken. She quietly said, or are you a foreigner? A single gold coin can buy a week's worth of food for a common family. That's not all. You could buy this polishing tool with that money. Just then, the seller ran out with a pile of boxes. Miss, our store only has 10 boxes available. No. I didn't intend to buy 10 boxes. Ha ha. I'm sure the lady will love it. Thank you, sir. While the two were talking, the man had already left. You've returned, sir. I've already informed Duke Floyen of your planned visit. All right. What was that commotion just now, Your Highness? At this moment, he remembered Juvelian's appearance earlier, turned around, and said, no, it's nothing. On the other side, the Duke saw her hugging a pile of polishing boxes and asked, what is that? Armor polish. She thought, in the end, he still left without taking his change. What a waste of money. Today has been a long day. I'm tired. Wearing high heels all day made her feet ache. Looking at the stairs, she felt dizzy. If I want to inherit father's fortune in the future, I can't go against his words. Juvelian tried to walk, but stumbled and fell. Luckily, the Duke caught her. Phew, that was close. I almost fell flat on my face. What are you doing? I'm sorry, father. She thought, father must be furious. That's certain. Even though I was struggling to walk, he picked her up in his arms. Oh, father. Let's go back to the carriage. Father, I'm fine. Just be quiet. He carried her away, witnessed by everyone. She questioned, what's wrong with me today? First at the jewelry store, and now this. Father, please put me down. I'm fine. I still want to go shopping. Juvelian, just stay put. Juvelian pondered, it's so hard to please father. Juvelian started sweating and feeling dizzy. She was tired and rested her head on the Duke's chest. He said, sooner or later, you'll find a good man. I can't hear what father's saying. I'll just nod to get it over with. Seeing her silence, he asked, Juvelian, what's wrong? What? I'm fine, so you don't need to worry about me. After saying that, Juvelian fainted. Her hand went limp, making the Duke panic. Juvelian, could it be like last time? No way. Juvelian returned to the mansion. The Duke continuously held her hand. Wake up. Don't let me lose you too. In her daze, she thought, how strange. Why is this person calling my name? Why is he crying? Please wake up. For days later, she woke up. Oh, my head. I woke up from that horrible dream. Oh, miss, are you all right? I was so worried when you didn't wake up. Everyone around her was grumbling. How long have I been in bed? It's been 4 days. She gasped, 4 days. Just then, the servants rushed in. Miss, are you all right? Juvelian looked over the room, filled with many flowers and fruits. She asked, what are those? Those are gifts from the noble ladies, sent to wish you a speedy recovery. She wondered, no way. I don't have any friends. Just then, her father walked in from outside. The Duke approached and touched her forehead. You're awake. She questioned, am I still dreaming? Before she could answer, the Duke turned around and left. Go rest. He really just walked away. What was I hoping for? The father who acts indifferent to his sick daughter does so to show his subordinates that he's not weak. I only get to see his face for a moment. Waking up after an illness, all the flowers and letters were only sent out of respect for father's reputation. No one truly cares about me. As expected, if I don't have father's money and house, I have nothing. Miss, are you really going to write the letters yourself? Yes. Everyone was worried enough to write to me, so I should write back myself, right? First, everyone's perception of me must change. There are misconceptions about me. The following days, the servants whispered. The lady is reading a book. Regarding my studies. Father might not pass on the title to me. I'll only receive a sufficient amount of money, so I need to preserve that money. I need to start preparing to be independent and escape father. But studying is truly extremely boring. I didn't study properly when I was young, and now I'm paying for it. No, I have to try hard for my independence. As she pushed the door open, her father was already sitting there. Her surprise made her drop the books in her hands. Father. Good morning. I didn't know father was in the study. He turned and said, it's not morning, it's afternoon. Oh yes, you're right. I made a mistake. Seeing the book she was holding, he asked, is that a book on territory management? He wondered, why is that child reading that? Yes. I was curious about what kind of work father does as the lord of the territory. Why are you curious about that? Should I say I want to manage the territory? She smiled. I'm just curious. I have no other intentions. The Count crossed his arms and said, Juvelian, sit down. Remembering the doctor's words, the lady must be careful not to be stressed and should always stay calm. She thought, calm my foot. I'm extremely stressed right now. I don't know if I can even smile. This atmosphere is exhausting. If I continue like this, I'll faint again. The Count asked, do you know the 3 elements needed to become a manor? You need land as a foundation, a lord to protect the area, and tenants who can produce food. You know a lot. I've read about it. He put down his teacup and asked, then, do you know this? After that, an hour passed with one person asking and the other answering. What do you think about this? Another hour passed. Juvelian was helpless. What is this? Why did this suddenly turn into a Q&A session? Father, why are you doing this to me? When will this finally end? And yet another hour passed. Sir, a guest. Sir, a guest is here to see you. Internally, she was screaming, yes. Yes. Finally, I'm free. But she pretended to be diligent, flipping through the book to look at it. The Count glanced at her and handed her a book. Go study. She looked at the book and felt a chill. Huh? Father, this is a book on strategy and tactics. I still have to read 3 more volumes. Since Father told me to read it, I can't not. While lying down tired, she saw something glittering tucked inside the book. Taking it out, it was a pendant. She took it and thought, it was in the study, so I guess it's okay if I take it, right? As she was walking, she heard arguing and stopped short. There's no need to persuade me further. This is not persuasion, it's a warning. You don't need to interfere. I've never seen Father argue, so I should quickly go to the study and put this pendant back. Just then, her father shouted, Mac. Curious. She poked her head out to look. Who is that? They're even close enough to call each other by name. He doesn't look like a knight. Is he a mercenary? Mac turned to look and Juvelian quickly hid. I was almost caught. Wait, isn't that the handsome guy from the armor polish shop? Her father continued, swordsmanship is meant to protect precious things, not to kill. It seems you've forgotten that. Master, do you really have to put on that weak facade? Huh? He just called him Master? I didn't know Father had a student. There are times when people grow stronger when they have others to protect. That's not worth my time. I have things to do, I'm leaving. Juvelian watched him leave, thinking, TSK. He's so rude because he has no one he needs to protect. Mac. One day you will find the person you want to protect. Juvelian wondered, a person Father cherishes? Does Father care about anyone that much? Even though Father left his only daughter to die alone? While sitting and pondering, Mac said, I don't know if I'll find anyone I want to protect. But I see a mouse hiding here. Juvelian flinched at the word mouse. A mouse? There are mice. Here? I hate mice. Mac slowly drew his sword and said, I'll catch it. Juvelian was secretly delighted. Yes, yes, please catch it. The Duke saw Mac draw his sword and said, no need. If you do that, even if it's you, I won't forgive you. Juvelian hid behind the wall, screaming internally. Father, seriously? Why are you like this? I can't hide anymore. But if I step out now, she poked her head out to see the 2 men staring intently at each other. Realizing her chance, she turned and left. First, I need to run away. I'm about to die. I can return the pendant later. Confirming she was gone, the Duke said to Mac, Mac, you knew who that child was, and you still called her that? It was dark, so I couldn't see clearly. Mac mused, I've studied swordsmanship with Master for 10 years. I know how strict and cold this man is, but the only time his face softened was when he said, That's my daughter, Juvelian. Yes, I don't understand why Master would burden himself like that. I will not be like Master and expose my weakness. Watching Mac leave, the Duke recalled, Lord Rift, please teach this child how to survive until then. I accept your command. Mac, you must continue living. I knew the prince when he was still neglected by the Emperor. So, the position of Crown Prince is still vacant. Mac's mother was a weak woman who was not respected, so her funeral was poor. I understand your anger, because I was once like you. But you don't know this. Because of that child, the monster inside me hasn't swallowed me yet. One day, you will meet someone you cherish more than anything. Juvelian, after returning to her room, tightly wrapped herself in a blanket, scared. The maid asked, Is there really a mouse in the house? The people who worked here before me said they had gotten rid of all the mice. I'm sure there are a few mice that were missed because the mansion is so big. Please don't worry, Mississippi. I'll report it to the butler. We need to exterminate them as quickly as possible, otherwise they will multiply. As for her father, after being reported by the butler, he said, Is the child worried? Yes. I also called people to catch the mice recently, but none were caught. The Duke mused. It seems the child misunderstood Mac's words. There are no mice here, so there's no need to look anymore. Then, yes, sir. Where do mice usually live? Never mind. How is the list of candidates for Juvelian coming along? I am still looking for someone who meets all the conditions for appearance, fortune, and social status. I think I will complete it today. Also, sir, Mikhail sent another letter. Mikhail? Why is that bastard sending a letter? What nonsense is he saying in his recent letters? He keeps insisting that he wants a reply from the lady. The content of the letters all say that he views the lady's actions as a prank to get his attention. Is that so? Make sure Juvelian doesn't see any of his letters. Direct, I will inform the other servants. No, I'm leaving this matter to you. As soon as you see a letter, burn it immediately. At this moment, the maid Marilyn happily announced, Miss, I heard they caught a mouse. Juvelian brightened up and asked, Are you sure? Yes, but it was the only one caught in the trap. Since no others were caught, it seems that Mouse accidentally wandered into the house. Juvelian felt incredibly relieved. Now I can comfortably go into the house. I even had to make a temporary shelter outside in the garden because of it. This is a letter for the lady. Juvelian stared in surprise. It must be a reply from Count Ah to the letter I sent him last time. The content of the letter. I respectfully invite you to the 17th birthday party of Lady Rosemary Ah. So, this is an invitation. Count Ah's youngest daughter, Rose, she is one of the characters in the story who wanted to overthrow me. A wicked woman who made friends with the Grand Duke's wife. Now, my relationship with her is not bad. The invitation to the birthday party is 3 weeks away, Juvelian called Marilyn. Yes, miss. Go pick some flowers from the garden for me. Also, bring me some ribbons. Having said that, Juvelian seriously thought, knowing when to rely on others is also a form of independence. Then, with a cake in her mouth, she mumbled, "Get me another plate of cake." She reminded herself, I also need to take care of myself. Later, Lady Rose received Juvelian's reply. The letter was sparkling and beautiful. Happy 17th birthday, Lady Rosemary Ah. I was very surprised to receive your invitation. I hope my presence will make you happy. I look forward to meeting you at the birthday party. Rose's eyes sparkled as she exclaimed, Lady Juvelian personally wrote and decorated this for me? It's so beautiful. She rolled around on the bed with the letter. The fact that she replied to my letter for the first time was surprising enough, but she even accepted my invitation. She recalled, actually, I've always admired her ladylike demeanor. She's as beautiful as a doll. She remembered running enthusiastically to Juvelian. Yes, it's a pleasure to meet you, lady. But Juvelian didn't even notice her rushing to embrace Mikhail. She completely ignored me, but I've forgotten all about that now. Therefore, I should send her a reply too. No sooner said than done. Rose immediately wrote a letter and beautifully decorated it, sending it to Juvelian. Juvelian held the letter in her hand, also surprised. I can't believe she replied to me again. Hello, Rosemary. Of course, you know I can't introduce myself to you directly, so I sent this letter. I'm so happy that the lady replied to my letter. The way you decorated it with dried flowers was wonderful, so I tried to decorate my letter like that, but I'm a bit embarrassed because my letter looks messy. By the way, I wanted to ask why the lady is so beautiful and good at crafts. To me, you're like a princess. After reading it, Juvelian chuckled. She followed the letter I sent her. I'll briefly praise her cuteness. Rose, but it's so long. I didn't expect her to be this happy to receive my letter. Juvelian looked thoughtful, and the maid Marilyn was moved to tears. Oh my, the lady is carefully thinking about what to write to her first friend. Juvelian thought, since she expressed it so clearly, she definitely wants me to respond to something. At the same time, at the royal palace, people at the dining table were gossiping. Did you see the letter Lady Floyen sent? It seems she's finally decided to grow up. But is it possible for that child to change? Yes, did you forget everything that child did? But that lady we considered arrogant didn't ignore my invitation and even sent a letter accepting it. My goodness. What made her accept? Before, she wouldn't attend any party except those hosted by the royal family. Haha. You're the daughter of Count Ah, not anyone special. Are you daydreaming? Also, isn't it the trend these days to decorate letters with dried flowers and ribbons? Yes, it's still Lady Floyen. After she decorated it like that, it became a trend. Just then, Mikhail walked over and unintentionally overheard their conversation. He clenched his fist and called out Juvelian's name. So now you're sending messages to Count Ah's daughter. A man approached Mikhail and politely said, Welcome back, sir. Mikhail said, Inform Count Ah that I will be attending his birthday party. Yes, young master. Also, was there a letter sent to you? No, sir. Are you expecting a letter? Mikhail said, No, get out. Then Mikhail's face darkened. So that's how you are now, huh? I can't believe you dared to ignore my letters, Juvelian. You want to get my attention that badly, don't you? I'll make you regret this. Juvelian was troubled because Lady Ah was greatly anticipating her birthday party, so she couldn't choose a shabby gift. Besides, I was just going out shopping, but why did he forbid me from going out without this escort? It's not just one person, it's too many. There are 12 knights, father. 12. I just want to live a quiet life. Just then, Juvelian's escort asked, Are you sure you want to go in there? It looks like they're closed, my lady, and many eyes are on us. I think you should speak more respectfully. And yes, it definitely has to be this place. People following muttered, There are so many shops open nearby. Ever since she chose that armor polish, her taste is really. Juvelian walked in, and the shop owner sighed, I apologize, but I'm not in the best working condition. I don't know how noble you are, my lady, but please go to the grander store next door. Juvelian replied, it's all right, and walked up to the owner, Ian Pito, saying, I have something I want to commission you for. He looked up, confused as to why Juvelian would choose him. Juvelian said, because only you can make what I want. Go on, as you can see, I'm not in a good mood right now. He stood up to walk away, but Juvelian said, I believe in you, Pito. Pito glanced at Juvelian, who brightly declared, I fully trust that you can create a more skillful magical artifact than anyone else. Then she thought, because you're going to become the greatest artificer in the Empire later on. Pito was moved to tears and shyly covered his face. I apologize, something just flew into my eye. Ian Pito, although currently depicted as a worn-out man, was depressed by the pressure of inheriting his family's declining business. He thought, I can't do this. All these things are just junk. In reality, he would become a marvelous artisan like his father. 6 months later, he would become the most talented artificer, causing a huge stir in high society after creating the necklace for the princess's coming-of-age party, the most beautiful treasure of all. It's best to build a good relationship with him before he becomes famous. Pito then asked Juvelian, can you tell me what you would like? She smiled and said, of course, feeling fortunate that she would possess an item crafted by him. Just then, Direct came in to report to Duke Floyen, my lord, the list of candidates for the lady has been prepared. Duke Floyen looked over it and wondered, why is the name Max on here? He circled it with a pen and told Direct to remove this name. Another servant came in, my lord. His Majesty has sent an urgent letter requesting you come to the palace immediately. Juvelian thought, I should have asked for something simpler. Now where should I shop? Cosmetics. Or ink? Last time I was too focused on pleasing father, so I couldn't choose anything nice, and I was the center of attention. This time, she suddenly saw a pair of cufflinks and gasped, oh, they're gorgeous. They'd look great with father's suit. Yes, I'll give father this and return the pendant at the same time. I'm worried about holding onto the pendant for too long. But if I give this gift with it, he'll be less angry. She immediately said, I'll buy this. Just then, a man approached. Oh, isn't that Lady Floyen? She turned back and internally muttered. Reborn. Mikhail's relative, famous for being a social busybody. That venomous mouth. Reborn Droy. Juvelian said, it's been a while, Lord Droy. I'm sure he's pretending not to recognize his cousin's ex-girlfriend. What do you mean? I'm so sad you're speaking so formally, my lady, just because you broke up with Mikhail. He took her hand and kissed it. Please, just call me Reborn, my lady. You look as beautiful as a golden daffodil. Juvelian frowned and thought, how rude. I'll just put up with it for now. He loves to gossip, so he's trying to provoke me. She pulled her hand back and said, I'd love to chat more, but I have a prior engagement, so I must leave. What kind of plan makes you run off as if you're trying to escape? Juvelian turned back to buy the cufflinks from before. Reborn smiled wickedly, thinking, it hasn't been long since she broke up with Mikhail, yet she's buying cufflinks for another man? What will Mikhail do when he finds out about this? Meanwhile, at the Imperial Palace, Duke Floyen bowed. You summoned me, Your Majesty? The Emperor asked, how is that timid mouse that keeps sneaking into the palace? If this continues, I can't sleep peacefully. I want you, my most loyal subject, to go and eliminate all those damn vermin. Yes, Your Majesty. The Duke thought, he wants me to find the culprit behind the assassination attempt and kill them. The Emperor continued, but the timid mouse that was caught committed suicide without leaving any clues. I want you to stay in the palace to conduct an internal investigation. I understand. I will stay here for a few days, Your Majesty. As I expected. With someone like the Duke by my side, I feel relieved. Later outside, the knights asked the Duke, are you really going to obey that order? A national hero. Like the Duke shouldn't have to. Duke Floyen turned back and warned, this is the Imperial Palace. Be careful with your attitude. And you don't need to be so suspicious. Just then, Max was sitting in a tree and thought, I can't believe he lets the man he could overthrow at any moment be so carefree. I'm so disappointed, Master. How much longer will you let the Emperor manipulate you by exploiting your weakness? Just then, a knight said, I have completed the safe escort mission. The Duke asked, how is Juvelian? Did she buy the gift for Lady Rose? The lady was delighted by the birthday invitation. Duke Floyen gently said, I understand. Max wondered, why? Is it simply because they're family? Is she that important to you? I thought we were the same kind of person, willing to eliminate all threats in our path. But every time you think about her, you become weak and expose your emotions like that. It's too obvious to His Majesty the Emperor, who only sees his own child as a toy. He'll notice your weakness and your attachment to her. He recalled the Duke saying, sometimes people become stronger to protect their own weakness. Max thought, nonsense. Fine. I'll see for myself what makes him so weak. A day after meeting Juvelian, Reborn came to find Mikhail. It's been a while, hasn't it? Mikhail, your leg must hurt. Why don't you come sit with me? Mikhail turned back and coldly asked, what do you want from me? Of course. I have some good news for you. Yet you haven't offered me a cup of tea. Just get to the point. You're so cold. That's why Lady Floyen left you and fell for another man. Mikhail asked, what nonsense are you talking about? What do you mean? Nonsense? You wound me. I saw it with my own eyes. She bought cufflinks as a gift. Cufflinks, you? No? That kind of gift is only exchanged between two people who are close, and it symbolizes. You are mine. This isn't good news for you? You were worried she was just lying about canceling the engagement. Perfect timing. I thought we'd be talking for a while, so bring some tea. Unexpectedly, Mikhail flared up and shouted, get out. If you're done, then leave. Goodbye then. Is your mood bad because of me? Sorry. Mikhail's face darkened. She loves someone else? It was just a moment ago she was saying, Mikhail, I love you. She acted as if she would love me forever, yet she found another man? He clenched his fist and slammed it onto the object in front of him. Juvelian. I will definitely make you pay for deceiving me. Juvelian was sitting in a daze and sadly asked, he's late again because he's too busy? Marilyn said, the master has training, so he said he won't be back for a few more days. She murmured, I wanted to get rid of this pendant and these cufflinks as soon as possible. Marilyn quietly wiped her tears. My lady, she must be so sad that the master isn't coming back. That whole night, Juvelian held her books and fell asleep unexpectedly. Suddenly, Max sneaked in and saw Juvelian. He thought, she looks so weak. Considering how fragile she is, who knows when she might die. Then he wondered, why is he so worried about her? Is she important? She looks so boring. Max slowly reached out, as if to grasp Juvelian's neck. He felt like he could kill her at any moment. Suddenly, Juvelian woke up. Her eyes were still groggy as she said, I don't know who you are, but you must have the wrong house. Max quickly retracted his hand. Wait, she's awake? Juvelian rubbed her eyes and said, this is Duke Floyen's mansion. Max was confused. What's wrong with her? Wouldn't a normal person scream in fear? Why is she so calm? Max replied, I came to the right place. She said, really? Then you should change your plans, or I'm sure you'll regret it. I still have a year before I die. Max was baffled. She doesn't understand the situation, does she? Juvelian suddenly took out a match and lit it. Max was surprised. How dare she light a match? Brazen and fragile girl. Max immediately got into a defensive posture. Suddenly, Juvelian glanced at him, freezing his movements. After she looked at him up and down, she ran closer to Max and smiled brightly. Oh, your father's disciple. Max remembered this was the girl he met at the armor shop. Juvelian sighed in relief and slumped down. Thank goodness, it's not a murderer. When I opened my eyes, there was a guy in black staring at me, so I thought, is this just my sleeping armor? Was I dreaming? But no, it's not a dream. When a person breaks in at night, they're usually a thief or, oh damn, a killer? Who exactly is this person? Because she lived so badly, there are too many plausible answers. Farewell, life. Why was I so reckless in the original plot? But there's no way I'm dying now. I'm the main villain from the past, and I die here? Ruining the princess's coming of age ceremony was the greatest achievement of my life, wasn't it? She reassured herself, no need to panic. You must have come to the wrong place, right? I definitely came to the right place. Thank goodness the killer is my father's disciple. What a shock. I must lock the door carefully next time. Max saw her covering her face and sighing, so he spoke up. Hey, you. Juvelian frowned and said, why are you speaking to me so informally? Even if you're my father's disciple, you should know some manners. Why should I? She yelled, how rude. Thinking about it, I'm annoyed. You're the one who broke into my house in the middle of the night and scared me to death. If he wasn't her father's disciple, she would be dead already. Just then, a knight outside asked, is there a problem inside, my lady? She just stood up and was about to speak when Max swiftly drew his sword and threatened her. Outside, the questioning continued, what's going on there, my lady? Are you alright, my lady? Juvelian thought, it looks like he wants me to play along. She spoke loudly, I'm fine. I'm just considering whether I should read a book because I'm having trouble sleeping. Yes, your ladyship, we understand. The two knights turned to leave. Juvelian waved her hand and said, I played along as you wanted. Can you please remove that sword from my neck now? What did you just say? I don't know why you have the right to be angry when you're the one who illegally broke in. She yawned deeply. So this is your fault. Max had a huge question mark over his head. In this situation, she can still yawn? Juvelian covered her mouth in embarrassment. I'm so tired that I'm completely losing my composure. Max lowered his sword and stared at her, asking, "What are you doing?" She said, "I'm a little sleepy because you interrupted my sleep. So, can we go our separate ways?" "No." Max paused, thought for a moment, and said, "I don't have a home." She stared at Max and thought, "I had a feeling about this before. Is he really a mercenary?" She said, "Then just go wander around somewhere." Max looked at her, puzzled for a moment, then nodded in agreement. She thought that mercenaries usually rent an inn or stay in places like that. And the way I see it, Max is a homeless person who was abandoned. She cried out internally, "Oh my god." Or was he kicked out? Then she nodded, thinking, so that's why he came to Father's place, because he had nowhere else to go. Max stared at her and suddenly felt uncomfortable. Come to think of it, last time he was here as a guest, he wasn't greeted properly or escorted by the servants, because he wasn't a real guest. Maybe he accidentally broke into my room while trying to find a way other than the main door? Hesitating, she thought, what should I do now? Father isn't here right now. She sighed and said, I guess there's no helping it. She turned to Max and said, if you have nowhere else to go, you can stay here for a while. He was surprised. What? She thought, since Father is away, I'll take care of this guest in his place. She turned back to the bed, took the blanket, tiptoed over, pushed it firmly onto Max, and patted his shoulder, saying, you don't need to thank me. You can repay me however you want when you succeed. Max stared at her blankly. Juvelian yawned again and flopped onto the bed. Well, I'm going to sleep now. You feel free to sleep too. After that, she actually fell soundly asleep. Her snoring echoed throughout the dark, silent room. Max was completely bewildered. What the hell is she doing? She's actually asleep? Why isn't she afraid of me? Everyone who has ever met me either trembles like a leaf or pretends to be tough to hide their fear in front of me. But that look, the look that flashed for just a moment. What was that strong and calm gaze? Then he thought, stop overthinking it. This lady is just a nuisance. I need to take care of her right now. If I remove my master's weakness, I can help him escape the Emperor's clutches. Only then can he continue to stand by my side as before and overthrow the Emperor with me. Max brought his hand close to her neck, but then flinched. She's sleeping so soundly that it's making me, the spectator, sleepy too. He thought, I shouldn't do this here. I can't. Well, I'll just rest. For a while. Just like that, he fell onto Juvelian's bed and slept soundly. Just then, a dragon attacked fiercely. A dragon! Everyone run. Juvelian ran and screamed. Luckily, her father arrived in time. How dare you chase my daughter? I won't let you escape. She cried out to her father desperately. Suddenly, she opened her eyes and sighed in relief. It was a dream. I can't believe I dreamed of a dragon. I don't usually dream like that, do I? She curled up and giggled. They say dreaming of a dragon is a good omen. That must be why I feel like today is going to be a great day. Suddenly, she saw Max sleeping soundly next to her. She jumped up in shock. What the? Why is he sleeping in my room? And on my bed, no less. What the heck is going on? But she didn't have the heart to wake him because he looked so peaceful. Nothing happened to me, so he probably just wanted to sleep in a decent bed. Even though his personality is bad, his face is undeniable. Maybe he's even more handsome than Mikhail. Then she imagined the scenario. The wicked Lady Floyen kidnaps and imprisons a handsome young man. Oh god, this could lead to a lot of misunderstandings. I have to wake him up. She reached out to call him, but Max suddenly grabbed her hand and slammed her down, pinning her to the bed. Max quickly restrained Juvelian. What the hell are you doing? Their four eyes stared blankly for a moment, and then she said, you must have slept well, huh? So energetic right after waking up. Max's eyes widened in surprise. I slept? Yes. Then he decisively yelled, no way. Juvelian was speechless and internally cried out, oh god. What an ungrateful pain in the neck. I let him sleep in my bed, even though he's the one who broke into my room, and now he just dismisses it? I can't take it anymore. But this whole situation is kinda funny. Max frowned and coldly asked, why are you laughing? Seriously. He makes me feel exactly like back then when I often saw a small black stray cat. That cat was exactly like this, sneaking into my room whenever it wanted and sleeping on my bed whenever it felt like it. In the end, it kept its cold and grumpy personality, just like this, flicking its ears, looking sideways and wagging its tail. She wasn't planning to laugh, but the image kept popping up in her head. She suppressed her laughter and said, I am sorry. Just then, a voice rang out from outside, my lady, are you awake? She thought, calm down. Think about something else. Quickly, think about something else. I can't let the maid see me like this. She told Max, come here for a second. This should be a safe spot. She smiled brightly. You can hide here temporarily and don't make any noise, okay? You wouldn't want people to misunderstand, right? So just wait patiently here, okay? Max was dumbfounded. Misunderstand. She explained, it's like people thinking you and I spent a night together doing something. You. No, those kinds of misunderstandings. Max frowned. Doing something? Enough. Why do you keep treating me like I'm? She interrupted, it's like the mating of animals. Mating? Max flushed and yelled, nonsense. Juvelian quickly covered his mouth. Are you crazy? We could be seen by the maids. Why are you raising your voice? Outside, Marilyn felt like she heard a noise. She touched the door and called, my lady, why is it locked? Inside the room, Juvelian said, you don't want people to misunderstand, right? Neither do I. So if you want to stay here, you have to cooperate with me. Max obediently nodded his head in agreement. She smiled brightly. Wouldn't it have been better if you were polite from the start? Then she started stroking his head. Max was furious and internally screamed, how dare she touch my hair? Just then, Marilyn was still calling urgently, my lady. She slammed the closet door shut. I'm coming out now. The loud slam made Max, who was inside the closet, flinch. I thought something was wrong. You don't usually lock the door. I'm sorry for worrying you. It's nothing. I was just worried someone might break in. My lady, where would you find someone so unafraid of death? This is the Floyen mansion. No thief would dare set foot here. She internally chuckled. Haha, there's one right here. One who doesn't know the meaning of fear. She said, I'm just being cautious because father is away now. Marilyn internally gasped. The lady is worried because the master isn't here? Juvelian was worried. I hope the idiot cat in the closet stays quiet. Marilyn's eyes welled up with tears as she held Juvelian's hand. My lady, the master will return safely, so please don't worry too much. How about I take you for a walk to clear your head? Suddenly, Marilyn screamed, oh, there's a bruise on your hand. Max was exasperated and sighed. How much longer do I have to be here? Now is not the time for this. What the hell am I doing here? I really can't understand. No matter how I think about it, she really is a strange girl. Smiling brightly while she's in danger like that. After being locked in the closet for 20 minutes, why isn't that girl here yet? Suddenly, Max heard a strange noise. He listened closely, and outside, Marilyn was saying, apply a little more here, my lady. Ow, that hurts, Marilyn. What the hell are they doing out there? They're not mating, are they? No, no way. What nonsense am I thinking? I'm being affected by a girl like that. My lady, I'll get you some painkiller from the doctor later. Just apply a little ointment and it'll heal. Right away. Max thought, why is she doing that when she wasn't even hurt? Marilyn insisted, it looks really painful. Your wrist and shoulder are completely bruised. Max internally exclaimed, bruised? What happened? Juvelian said, I did it to myself. I fell off the bed. Hearing that, Max thought, she must have been hurt then. It's only natural for the strong to live and the weak to perish. That's the way of the world. Marilyn then said, all right, please go rest then. Juvelian immediately went to the closet door and slowly opened it. You can come out now. Max's eyes widened and were glued to her because she had changed into a dazzling dress. Juvelian asked, are you ready? Let's have a meal together. He stammered, have a meal. Why? She asked. Because eating together makes food taste better. Then she took his hand and urged him, hurry up. You should prepare yourself. The chef takes great care of me. She wants us to eat together? Is she talking about the cucumber sandwich? That's the food I hate most. Juvelian asked, why are you eating? Max startled and said, I will. He picked it up and thought, do I really have to put this in my mouth? My initial intention was to eliminate my master's weakness and leave this place. Juvelian stared intently at him, so Max reluctantly put it into his mouth and took a bite. She immediately asked, how is it? It's delicious, right? Max felt a shiver and forced himself to swallow. What am I doing here? Juvelian brightly said, thank goodness. I was so worried because it's my favorite food, so I wasn't sure if you could eat it. Max reluctantly took another bite. Probably to make Juvelian happy, huh? Imperial Palace of the Az Empire. There are many gossiping mouths in the palace. As if I don't know that Duke Floyen is trying to protect the king. I came to meet his majesty. If this continues, the people will only become more dissatisfied, just like before, said the chief chancellor, Duke Ilyas. Your Majesty, do you still want to keep him constantly by your side? The emperor said, clearly, there is no fiercer dog than him. 20 years ago, at the climax of the war between the Az Empire and the Tezer Kingdom, the arrogant young emperor didn't understand anything about life and abandoned the palace to flee. Then a royal knight stood up to protect the kingdom himself. That hero helped a coward win a victory, and that coward is the current emperor. And that hero is Duke Floyen, Regius or Floyen. Duke Ilyas thought, because Floyen supports the emperor and believes that abdication is unnecessary. But the people still consider the emperor a coward. He said to his majesty, if we cling to him with that useless command, the people will only be more resentful. So why don't we use a scheme to lure the culprit into a trap? The emperor frowned. I don't need you to teach me how to solve my own problems. Get out, Duke Ilyas. Your Majesty, the consequences of your past actions still remain, so your greatness will also be tainted. If you want to take control of Duke Floyen, you must command him to return to work for the empire. I hope you will make a wise decision. With that, Duke Ilyas left. The emperor gnashed his teeth in anger. He doesn't know a damn thing. Yet he dares to give me advice. His arrogance. He told me that person won't be able to resist me. Juvelian yawned deeply. I just ate, so I'm so sleepy, I guess. Then she looked at Max. He sleeps so naturally. I bet he doesn't know that the spot he's lying on is my favorite place to sleep, huh? Max suddenly opened his eyes and asked, what are you looking at? Oh, he wasn't asleep? He looks so comfortable. Then she thought, when will he leave? Don't tell me he plans to stay here until father returns. Max asked again, why do you keep looking at me? It seems like you're quite close to my father. Well, it's not bad. The warm tone in his voice that father has never shown me. Everything feels so foreign that I almost think he's a different person. Come to think of it, I plan to return the pendant and give father the cufflinks. She turned to call Max, then continued to think, if he's father's disciple, he must know father's aesthetic preferences. Right? Max grumbled. Say what you want to say. Don't waste my time. Well, what do you think about giving someone a pair of cufflinks? Max's eyes widened. Giving a gift? Juvelian blushed and hid her face. Don't tell me father will hate it? Suddenly, Max approached, took the book away, revealing her flushed face. You plan to give this to whom? She wondered, why is he so fast? He was just lying on the couch. Juvelian turned her face away and said, who else could it be? Don't you know? People are saying that Lady Floyen loves Lord Mikhail so much that she ignores her own honor and clings to him. Max exclaimed, how pathetic. Do you intend to give this to a man like that? She jumped up in surprise. Well, you're being a little harsh. Max's face darkened. He thought, I'm saying this for her own good. I said that on purpose, yet she still wants to defend him? Max said, obsessed with a man as boring as that, you must have no self-respect. Her face darkened, and she trembled. It's not exactly that I want to give it to him, but I'm doing it because I want to live. Because he's my father. Huh? You're talking about your father? Duke Floyen? What are you talking about? Who did you think I was talking about? Max instinctively sighed in relief, covered his mouth, and smiled faintly. So that's it. Juvelian looked confused and wondered, why is he laughing? I'm being insulted. She yelled, hey, stop laughing already. Tell me, what happened? Max asked, you said you want to give the cufflinks? Juvelian offered them. Yes, here they are. He looked at them and judged, it looks quite useless for a knight. Then your gift-giving taste must be amazing, right? Max gloated, I gave my father a gift once when he looked too gloomy. I was very satisfied because my gift helped him cherish his pathetic life in his final years. And what did you give him? Max played coy. You don't need to know. That's right. Duke Floyen will be happy with any gift you give him. Juvelian said, is he dreaming? She turned away. If that were the case, I wouldn't have asked you. Max tilted his head and muttered, she doesn't know her father cares about her deeply? Juvelian sulked. Since I already bought it, I have to give it. Max gaped. He sacrificed so much for his daughter, yet his daughter doesn't know anything? How ridiculous. This is what you want? How pathetic, master. Just then, Duke Floyen was leaning against a tall tree. There were whispers, and a bird flew over and chirped. The Duke glanced at the small bird and murmured, go away. My daughter is afraid of small animals. Just then, a knight approached, looking around for the Duke. The Duke casually asked, what is it? I have news from the mansion, my lord. Juvelian. The Duke immediately jumped down and urgently asked, tell me, what about Juvelian? Not exactly. They say the lady is very worried because the Duke hasn't returned yet. The Duke was stunned. She's worried about me? She has never been like this before. The Duke stood motionless, muttered Juvelian, and then cracked a small, relieved smile. The knight was also surprised. Is the Duke smiling? Then he said, it seems the lady is not well and keeps staying in her room. She must be very bored. The Duke's face darkened, and he clenched his fist. This is enough. This is enough of your little games, Max. The Duke immediately turned and said, we must meet His Majesty immediately. Floyen Mansion. Juvelian was diligently writing a letter. Max said, you don't need to go to that extent. Juvelian replied, but only giving a gift is impolite. I think only giving him a gift is enough to make him happy. Juvelian angrily crumpled up the paper because she still wasn't satisfied. What should I write? I'm not that close to father. She turned to Max and asked, what do you usually talk about with your father? Max asked, my master. Then he intently thought about the things the Duke had said before. Juvelian was so cute when she was little. The child was reading history books when she was only 5. My child is truly a genius. This is the corsage she gave me. He always just rambled on about his daughter. I don't know. We don't talk much. Juvelian looked at Max and internally exclaimed, totally useless. Fine, I'll just do it. After an hour, Juvelian excitedly yelled, done. This made Max, who was standing next to her, curious about the contents of the letter. He asked, you plan to give this to him? Of course. Isn't it perfect how I admit my mistake and beg for forgiveness? The apology letter to father. I opened the book father gave me as homework, and I accidentally took your pendant. I should have returned it, but for some reasons I couldn't. This is my fault. I apologize deeply. I regret having to write a letter for such a situation. From now on, I will never touch your belongings without permission. I am giving you a pair of cufflinks and this letter as an apology. I am truly sorry. I also apologize for not returning the pendant immediately due to some personal reasons. Juvelian looked quite determined. Now I'll give it to him. Then she said to Max, you know what to do if someone comes into the room, right? I'll be back soon. Okay, good luck. I wonder what kind of face master will make. Imperial Palace Main Hall. Duke Floyen. It's been 4 days since I commanded you to find the assassin. Why is there still no news? I still haven't found the culprit, Your Majesty. The Emperor slammed his hand down and yelled, do you think I will accept that answer? You should have found that mouse by now. Duke Floyen internally muttered, Max. He called my daughter a mouse. How ironic. I knew it all along. The one attempting to assassinate His Majesty the Emperor is Max. He probably wants to create a conflict between the Emperor and me. He recalled Max grumbling, are you afraid of someone so weak? It's not that I'm afraid. The reason I haven't rebelled against the Emperor is because now is not the time. The Duke said loudly to His Majesty, "They won't attack anymore." The Emperor yelled again, "How do you know that?" "While I was guarding the palace, the castle's perimeter was very strong, so no one would dare risk their life to come here again." The Emperor inwardly seethed. He dares to speak so boldly just to hurry home? Regius, how dare you? Then he calmed down and said, "But I'm still very worried. Stay for a little longer." The Duke said, "Then I will stay here for one more day." Duke Ilias said, "His power is growing stronger, Your Majesty. If you want to confront Duke Floyen, why not summon the Crown Prince to return?" The Emperor thought, "That's right. It's been a long time since that brat became your weakness, hasn't it? I will bind you. I will summon the Crown Prince back. I will pretend as if I want to pass the throne to Maximilian. That way, he will become the pawn used to confront him." At this moment, Juvelian thought that since her father hadn't returned, she would stop by his room. First, she entered Regius's office, looked around, and said, "This place is so big. Anyway, I'm glad father isn't here, because I didn't have the courage to hand it to him myself. I'll just leave it here and leave quickly." Accidentally, she saw a list on the table. She looked at it suspiciously and whispered, "A list of candidates." Suddenly seeing Max's name circled, she was startled and dropped the box of cufflinks. "Why is it you? Isn't that the Crown Prince's name? Does father want me to marry the Crown Prince? Father didn't even say anything to me." Flashback to Juvelian's ideal type. He had asked me before what my ideal type was, and I had said I like someone with money, power, and a good background. They must be handsome and talented too. If no one can meet those criteria, I won't get married. No way. Is this the list of candidates father chose? Maximilian K. As His Royal Highness the Crown Prince of the Empire, a man outstanding in every aspect, talent, background, power, but also a murderer who did not hesitate. He even killed his own biological father to seize the throne. A lunatic who never shed a tear, the villain of the novel. He even wanted to torture me. She trembled and said, "If father wants to push me into the hands of a guy like that, his only intention must be to marry me into the imperial family, right? Father, why did you do this to me? Father." At this moment, Max sat and sighed, constantly glancing towards the door. Why is this room so big? When is she coming back? Why is she taking so long? Suddenly, Max heard a rustling sound and immediately darted out like lightning, grabbing the intruder by the collar. Max recognized him and asked, "Why did you sneak in here?" "Please let me go first, sir, if you want to ask anything." The man struggled and replied, "The lady ordered me. The lady told me you would be here." After a moment of hesitation, Max let him go. Max frowned and asked, "So what do you want?" "I received a report that the Emperor is taking unusual actions." Max sneered, "I see. He must be furious because of the gift I sent." "It's not that. At the request of the Prime Minister and the Council of the Minority Government, you are reinstated as His Royal Highness the Crown Prince." The man offered the sword. "I believe it's time for you to return, Your Royal Highness Maximilian." At this moment, Juvelian turned and left. "I should just go back to my room for now. I won't let myself be pushed into the hands of a psycho tyrant like that. But the enemy is a member of the imperial family. Going against the Crown Prince won't be easy. I should try to persuade father to change his mind. I just need to find an excuse to refuse the marriage to the Crown Prince. For now, I'll just pretend I don't know anything about that list of candidates." When she returned to her room, it was empty. She looked back and forth and wondered, where is he? Did the maid just arrive so you had to hide? She whispered, "It's me," and then suddenly opened the closet door. "Are you here? Or maybe under the bed? What the heck? Where did he go? I still have so many things to worry about." She tiredly sat down on the bed and discovered a letter on the table. She opened it, and inside, it was carelessly written, "I'm leaving, so don't look for me. I'll return when the time is right." He called this the writing of a stray cat. I'm sure he's still mocking me. I didn't even have time to tell him to come back next time. Why so sudden? I wanted to personally say goodbye to him. The video will pause here. Thank you for watching the entire video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. Have a great day. Goodbye. And see you in the next video.